Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday, the 16th day of May, 2022. Your day weather podcast is being brought to you by Cowboy State News Daily, Wyoming's news authority. Check them out at cowboystatenewsdaily.com or on their Facebook page. Well, folks, keep calm and don't shoot the messenger is the theme of today's podcast, because I'm going to present with you some fabulous weather for a few days, then just not so fabulous weather behind it. And you'll see why here in a minute, because it's going to be really nice, then not so nice. We're going to talk also at the end of the podcast. So we're going to go through the normal podcast, but at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about the derecho, or the big burst of winds, haboob, wherever you want to name that big burst of wind that went through South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa late last week. Got some interesting radar images to show you, and we can learn a little bit more about that. But we've got pleasant, warm weather. Now, there's not much wind even, and there might even be a little rain. Temperatures are going to be just fabulous. Today through Wednesday, 70s, 60s, and maybe even some lower 80s. Not much wind, and there's going to be some garden variety afternoon showers and thunderstorms, especially today and tomorrow. Then we have a strong cold front plow into the region Thursday and Friday. The wind will be strong Thursday. After not much wind over the next 3 days, Thursday into Friday gets very windy and a lot colder. I hate to say this, freezing temperatures are likely in some areas, along with some rain and, yep, some snow showers for parts of Wyoming, Montana, and Colorado with this system. Gardeners, if you've set plants out that are very susceptible, like tomatoes with squashes, you're going to have to cover them up or bring them in as we get to the end of the week and the start of the weekend. Now, we did have the lunar eclipse last night. Got some great shots coming on in. Matt Edwards in the northern Bighorn Mountains, Wyoming, sending the shot of the eclipse. Lots of clear skies last night. Some areas had some clouds, but hopefully you got a view of it. Now let's take a look at what's going to unfold. As we get the week started, zonal westerly flow, which means mild Pacific air coming into the Rockies. A little upper low right here is going to help make the atmosphere unstable for the next couple of days, triggering showers and storms. It's this area of low pressure and cold that's up in the Gulf of Alaska. Now, for the last several weeks, this pattern has been there, and it has spun off other storms, but the main pocket of cold air has just stayed up there, but it's going to get dislodged. An area of high pressure is going to grow and build here in the coming days, and here we go. That's going to displace the air with this high pressure ridge building into Alaska. This cold air up in British Columbia, parts of Alaska, gets dislodged and is sent south. And so what's going to happen is, see where all the lines are packed together here very, very tightly? Well, there is a pocket of pretty cold air right here that's going to get drug in during the day Thursday into the Pacific Northwest, Western Canada, the Northern Rockies. Then it's going to plow south into the region very quickly Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, and into the day on Friday. The end result is going to be a sharp, and I mean a big decrease in temperature. There's also going to be a lot of wind right here. Thursday is going to get very windy along Interstate 80 as the front moves through. Then by Friday noon, we have a large cold front getting drug across the nation, producing a lot of weather. This system is going to march across the entire country for the most part, bringing a sharp drop in temperature, showers, thunderstorms, severe weather, a little bit of snow into the higher elevations. These are temperatures today, nice and warm. These are temperatures Wednesday, nice and warm. These are temperatures by Thursday afternoon, and here it is. You can see the sharp contrast. Basically, by late Thursday afternoon, the cold front is just to or past Interstate 80. Then you can see the purple and the green of the cold air rushing in. This cold air is covering a lot of the west by Friday afternoon. See this purple here? That's 30 degrees below average Fahrenheit. So you're talking about a big push of cold air. Look how extensive it is. And by Saturday, the colder air gets all the way to Florida, and only the far east not seeing the colder air yet. So this is a significant cold push for this late into May. Not unheard of at all, but kind of a shock to the system after what's going to be some really nice warm weather here for the next 3 days. Thunderstorms are going to be possible today. These are the afternoon and evening thunderstorm areas that are going to develop. These are the thunderstorm areas that will develop Tuesday afternoon and evening, and we're going to see some Wednesday as well. As we go forward, yep, here's the snowfall forecast. This is through Sunday morning. So you can see where we've got gray. Where you see the gray, you're probably looking at rain and snow mix on the plains. Then as you get into the higher elevations of Colorado and Wyoming, the higher elevations of Pacific Northwest and southern Canada, oh boy, yeah, there could be some snow. I don't expect a lot. We're not expecting a lot, but many of you will see snowflakes with this cold front. Now look at these temperatures. These are the forecasted low temperatures by Friday morning. So you can see temperatures here near or below freezing in parts of Montana and central and south central areas of Wyoming right here. This area here could see near or sub-freezing temperatures by sunrise Friday. By sunrise Saturday, whoa, 23 in Cheyenne, 19 in Laramie, 20s, Denver area. Look at that, 16. So whether or not they're this cold, we'll wait and see. But you certainly are going to have to be prepared, gardeners, to protect plants, bring them in or cover them up the way things are looking right now. Temperatures will slowly warm up after that. Now, a lot of you have known people or you've talked to people or you've heard it on the news about this giant burst of wind that rolled through parts of South Dakota, especially the Sioux Falls area, northeastern Nebraska and parts of Iowa late last week on Thursday. It formed this giant dust cloud. Sometimes it's called a haboob. The good way to describe these are straight line winds or outflow boundaries, but there's a name that folks have come up with to describe this widespread area of high winds that come from outflow from thunderstorms, and that's called a derecho, where you have these straight line winds that can be 90, 80, 100 miles an hour, can pick up dust and debris and just wreak havoc. Thanks for Swede and Gillette to send us this from the Sioux Falls area. Podcast listener Swede and Gillette sending us this photo of what it was looking like with that dust cloud approaching. Now what I want to do is step you through some radar images to kind of show you how these form. We had a line of thunderstorms with this storm system that came in late last week, that came through the Rockies, that came through this part of the United States here. This is a line of thunderstorms developing. And yes, we see this all the time. And if we go through, you can see the thunderstorms marching through, but notice how these thunderstorms become organized along a straight line here. This system was associated with a trough and a cold front where the air aloft was colder. You get cold air is more dense, it gets more momentum with it. And what it does is these thunderstorms create cold air. They also create downdrafts. The downdrafts and the cold air wants to sink. It's heavier. It wants to go to the ground. And when you get the momentum of these thunderstorms moving very, very quickly, you take the momentum of the stronger winds aloft, the colder, more dense air, and then the air flowing out of these thunderstorms along a straight line. What'll happen is you'll get these bursts of winds that come out ahead of these thunderstorms that can be very strong and quite damaging. We've seen this many, many times in the spring and summers in the past. They'll happen again, but they can be very, very damaging, especially in the spring season. So what I'm going to show you now is what's called a base velocity image that shows you the radar where it sees the wind, where it sees the air density changes. And so if we back up, you can see what happened with these thunderstorms. Now let's step through the velocity and you can see it just coming on through. Radar seeing it very, very easily. Lots of 80 to 100 mile per hour wind gusts associated with those straight line winds. And this is something you always want to watch out for when you have an organized line of thunderstorms. This is much more common in the Midwest and the Corn Belt than it is in the high plains and Rockies. Our thunderstorms don't tend to line up and get into these formations to where they can get really organized and get these large outflow boundaries to come together. This is more of a Midwestern event, but they still can happen in the Western High Plains and Rockies, just not as often. But a very impressive satellite display of that derecho going on through. Have yourself a great Monday. We'll have more updates tomorrow on the incoming cold at the end.